Right, thank you so much for making time and for joining us right here on this discussion, a conversation we hope will be able to clarify and of course bring to light some of the issues around the politics of the nation, especially as we head towards the August 9th general election. My name as always is Eugene Anangwe. I'm right here with the Secretary General of the Jubilee Party, Honorable Jeremiah Kioni. Thank you so much for making time to speak to us, SG.
Thank you for having me.
Hearty congratulations for the new position. And I think we'll kick off from there first of all. How are you settling in this new position?
We are trying hard. We came in when things were picking up. So we are trying, and we thank, one is to thank the President for entrusting us with this kind of a responsibility. And we are settling in. Now we can start directing issues or helping in the leadership of what we want to achieve, and we're happy.
Right.
Yes.
You've been very vocal in terms of supporting and standing by the Jubilee administration, the President's, work around the country. It's very vital to try to understand how you've been able to remain consistent at a time when we have seen many others, take a different direction, especially including the Deputy President who actually went on the campaign trail on a joint ticket with the President.
Immediately we were elected into Parliament in the year of 2017. We had a meeting at State House with the President. And within a very short while, he had been able to convey to us what was in his mind. And if we bothered to listen, he was clear. He said, unlike any other time, I don't want politics. We campaigned and promised Kenyans many things. Our work from today until the day we start campaigns again is to deliver. So he appealed to us, including the Deputy President, that we now go into our offices and concentrate on delivering on the promises. On the 5th year of his term, we will come out and campaign. So all that you needed to do was to remain faithful to that appeal. And then, of course, pay attention to what is being achieved and help in the achieving. What our colleagues chose to do is, one, to disregard the appeal, and two, deliberately go out and tell lies, najia ukora, sell propaganda, and start campaigning for 2022. And if you are in a room that is noisy, and you are in another room that is calm, you can't listen to the small voices in a noisy room. It is in the calm room that you listen to the small voices. It's the small voices that make the difference. The small voices deliver the huge development record that you are seeing, that Jubilee, led by Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, and it is him, it's Uhuru, who had that clear vision and focus, who has helped us achieve that.
Right.
You cannot do anything else other than support that kind of an agenda.
Right.
It's for everybody, the benefit of all Kenyans from all corners of this country.
Right. The Deputy President, who you say, together with those who support him, decided to, start on an early campaign trail.
Maybe together with those who rebelled with him.
In your own words, has been clear. And he says, and even within the latest period, he has actually said that his track record is clear, and he insists that the first term with the President, they achieved a lot as opposed to what happened post-handshake. This is very debatable, but of course, from where you sit yourself, what is it that you would sit and credit the Deputy President of having supported the President in achieving as far as this mandate is concerned?
One of the things, and using the words of the late President of the US, the older Bush, he said that for you to preside, you must prevail. Prevailing means you must win. So the President and his deputy were together, and it is that ticket that allowed the President to preside. I think that is as far as the fame of the Deputy President goes when it comes to the performance of Jubilee government from 2013 all the way to 2022, where we are today. The track record of the Deputy President, you would have to trace it back to when he left schools and all those kind of things. And I do not want to sit here and discredit him in any way, but you can actually see he is hard during the time that he was the Minister for Agriculture. That is when we lost control of the prices of fertilizer in this country. We had difficulties with selling of maize from the National Cereals Board in this country. We also got in trouble with the coffee and the tea. He never helped us come up. They continued going down, including the sugar sector. That you remember, and you know that agriculture is key to us in this country. So a big chunk of Kenyans actually got into suffering because of the way the agricultural sector was managed during his tenure. So in terms of a track record, one can go back and look at it. I do not want to spend time there, but also he is the one who should explain to us why is it that corruption seems to stalk him everywhere he goes? Why is it that he seems to even attract people who have corrupt cases in court? It doesn't matter whether they have been decided upon or not. Why would he be the one attracting that kind of a team with that track record? So when you are looking for leadership of a nation like Kenya, there are many things that should worry you, and some of the things that should worry you are the things I've mentioned about. Also, this tongue that is out to, you're always sending a negative message. A leader is not a source of negativity. A leader should always be a source of hope. And he should be one who encourages others. Like the way Raila did. He was bitter. He didn't win the 2017 elections. But he went on and he shook the hand of Uhuru, the president. And he encouraged him on. And from that day on, he's never sat there. Of course, he's said many things, I don't like this, I don't like that. His team in parliament has been very critical on the many things we tabled. But it was to criticize, but to help it happen. It's not to criticize so that it does not happen. When the deputy president stands up and says, the clips we've seen that UDA's track record is clear. They were associated with the SGR and the rest. One day. The following days he says, the same Jubilee administration has not achieved anything. The double speak again is part of the track record of that team. And you cannot trust people who double speak with the management of the affairs of this country. Hii mambo ya ukora ya siasa, ukora ya kila kitu, udanganyifu, propaganda is not a good thing.
Right. I know you don't hold a brief for the president in terms of being his spokesperson, but of course as the Secretary General of his party, what would you say of some of the things that, those, including the Deputy President, usually say that what would you do if you are in a joint ticket and you won together and then all of a sudden other people started being given what were perceived as your role? Would you still stay in there, or would you just say, you know what, let me throw my hands in the air and just move on the other side?
We learned together with Musalia Mudavadi as his running in 2013. And I remember a debate that was conducted, a deputy presidential aspirants debate that was conducted at ACK Church, All Saints Cathedral. And I was in that sitting, William was in that sitting, Kalonzo was in that sitting, among the others. We were in that debate. And the question that was asked more than 3 times was, what do you promise to do as a deputy president if your ticket wins? My answer was consistent, as provided for in the Constitution, and the Constitution says, principal assistant, wait to be told what to do. Wait to be given instructions on how to assist. Yours is to wait. A good deputy president is the one who waits for instructions from his boss. If the boss chooses to give Eugene an assignment of making sure that water is delivered in an area, it does not matter. He is still the boss. If he chooses to go all the way and pick another person and come and tell him you are going to be in charge of this ministry, yours is to wait for when you be told of what you are in charge of. The responsibilities of the deputy president. We got that position in the Constitution because we did not want a scenario where the president would pass on and leave us without a clear position as to who takes over from him.
Right.
So, and I want to say this because we are going to have other set of deputy presidents in a short while.
Right.
Let them know theirs is to see which office is assigned to them and then to wait. It is not to move around the country opening projects without the instructions of the president. It is not to move around the country doing campaigns for 2027. It is not to host national delegations at Karen. National delegations are supposed to be at State House. It is to wait and be told whether to go and represent him out of the country, whether to go and represent him out of in a function within the nation, and yours is to wait. And again, it is not for you to go and say, I have been sent with 1 million shillings to this Harambee by the president, when he did not send you.
Are you trying to insinuate that that has happened several times?
It was actually the case. And the president wanted to put that to rest when he sent Kanini Kega with a donation of 500,000 to the body of the mother of Rigathi. It was a clear statement of the president saying, this guy is lying. I don't send him. If I have been sending him, why am I sending Kanini Kega to this function? And I'm not sure he had not already given a donation saying it was from the president. Even when you have good intentions, don't go and lie on behalf of the president. Talk to him.
So
wait to be told.
So there seems to have been a lot behind the scenes in this one, but I don't want us to dwell so much on that because the deputy president can be able to also answer for himself in probably another forum, or the president, in other words. Let's talk about party politics. The Jubilee Party is, metamorphosing and coming up to, rebrand. There's been a lot of changes on the, the symbol and even the tagline or the motto. I want you to talk to us a bit about the idea that has been spread along as far as the power of this party. They've said that it's no longer a strong party, and it doesn't command the strength that it commanded, years behind or years ago. As you sit as the new SG of the party, what are the strategies that you're working on to make sure that the Jubilee Party, roars again, for lack of a better word?
One is that you need to understand what a political party is intended to achieve. You form a political party, or you belong to a political party like Jubilee, you go out to look for power, and in the looking for power, you promise to deliver X, Y, Z. Once you've been given power, like we were given power 2013, 2017, yours is to deliver in the interval, or in between the two electoral dates.
Right.
So we were given power 2017, and what we were as Kenyans expected us to do is to deliver on the promises we made, to do things that can make their lives better, to move the country from the level that we are in to the next level. After you've done that, then you come to the next phase again of looking for power. But you don't look for power when you have power. So what we did between 2017 and the NDC of 26th February this year was to deliver on the promises and not to start looking for power. Because we had the power. But those people who rebelled in the party went looking for power for 2022, yet they had power to deliver within that time. They failed Kenyans, and I can assure you, if they failed to understand that they had been given power in between 2017 and 2022, they would not even understand if they get power, and I know they won't going forward. So Jubilee was delivering on the promises in that interlude. We are now in the phase of looking for power. We know what role we want to play in the process of looking for power 2022. We will belong to the Azimio coalition or formation. It is within that Azimio that we are looking for power. The way we looked for power 2017 and the way we are looking for power 2022 is quite different. We have a presidential candidate on a joint ticket in the name of Raila Odinga and Azimio. And we will be part of that. So you expect a lot of activities to be around where the presidential candidate is coming from, ODM, more than where the support is coming from in the form of Jubilee. But in Jubilee, we are looking for power because We want to be in Parliament. We want to be in Senate. We want to have our members of Parliament. We want to defend the seats we had won in 2017.
Yeah.
And in defending those seats, again, different tactics will be used.
Right.
So you may not see what you saw 2017, but we can tell you that in a short while, we will be able to demonstrate that all that we won 2017 and a little more, we will get back 2022. Look at it even where we are today. In the last 2-3 days that I've been in this office, I've received the whole of the county of Isiolo, the whole of county of Turkana, the whole of county of Mandera, Galiza, Tana River, and they are all signed up, landing on the Jubilee ticket, where the bulk of the support for Jubilee had come from Mount Kenya region, is where the deputy president chose to concentrate for 4.5 years, akapeleka ukora yote ya siasa kule, uongo, including the intimidation that I was talking about earlier, and that is what we are trying to undo. We have already seen the good results of what we are doing. We are on an upward trajectory, and it will be different by the time we get to the month of May.
Right. We'll talk about what you mentioned earlier, even in the presser, about the intimidation of young people within Madeira constituency and parts of Nyeri and Central Province.
Yes, Mount Kenya in general.
Before we go there, there are those who don't understand the mathematics of this whole Azimio plan and what the Jubilee Party wants out of it. Because already you mentioned that you have a candidate in Raila Odinga. But on the other hand, there is talk of another, some sort of NDC that would bring together delegates from the coalition partners under Azimio to actually pick their preferred candidate for the Azimio ticket. 2 questions. Question number 1, is it a direct ticket for Raila Odinga or the other parties involved and those who would like to run? For example, those coming from other parties that also had intentions to run, would they also have a say in there? And also number 2, what is in it for Jubilee? You're not offering a presidential candidate. We've not had word or talk of a deputy president. What will this, what is in it? What's the give and take? What's the take for Jubilee, for lack of a better word, out of the Azimio coalition?
The first question is on this, like, why the NDC? The NDC for Azimio, or the joint parties that want to have the joint ticket, or the parties that want to have joint ticket, is because we also need to go through the phases. We need to do the steps, and it is good to look at it from a legal point of view.
Yeah.
You want to have an NDC of this party agreeing that that is the party of choice. The Coalition, the Political Parties Act, when we amended it and provided for coalition parties, provides on how you can do that. So we will need to do it as provided for in the law, and you have to be careful to ensure that we follow the law as provided for. So the NDC for Azimio will happen within the provided time, again, because we have timelines.
Yes.
It does not have to be the 12th. It can be any other day, but we have to do it within the timelines. As to what becomes of other parties, people that we are negotiating with, without doubt, the negotiations are still on. Depending on how they span out or how they pan out, that will influence the NDC of Azimio. But if there is the dilly-dally, there is in and out, in and out, in and out, we cannot stop our planning for the Azimio NDC. And that's where we are. So we are planning for that. And it will happen. We'll end up with for now, the clear position is that it is Raila Odinga, but the NDC is there to, allow it to happen or provide for something else. I can tell you that if you are looking for a presidential ticket at the information, you have to be out there looking for the support from the people, because the delegates will come to represent the people that you talked to.
Yeah.
So those others who are interested in the ticket of Azimio must be seen moving around the country, drumming up their support, so that when we get to the delegates, they are also candidates at Azimio. But if you don't see it happening, then the writing is on the wall. You don't need to spend too much time with niceties, and the less you can actually tell the direction will eventually go. What is it for Jubilee? Many things. 1, Jubilee was able to achieve what we achieved more than any of the governments that have been there since 1963, and you can throw in the colonialists, put together within that time because of the handshake from Raila Odinga. If that handshake has produced the mega projects that we have, within that short while, that handshake needs to be protected going forward because the country will achieve more. If that happens, that's something for us innate in Azimio for Jubilee. Number two, there are many projects that were started by Jubilee that will not have seen their completion time, or completion certificate may not have been issued by the time we sign out. We need those projects finished. They can only be finished by a government that likes what Jubilee was doing.
The argument would be, you finish your work, you move, and let the other government come and either finish or not finish, but let the public decide on their track record, no?
If you say finish your work and go, let the other team come and start their work and do. That is what has kept us on the same roundabout in this country. Every government comes and says, wachaneni na hiyo ilifanywa na wengine. We want to start ours. Going forward, we want a government that talks about continuity. Finish the projects that were started by the previous government. That previous government was doing those projects on behalf of the country and the people of Kenya. It's not on their own behalf, and now that they are gone home, they must go home. That has dragged the growth of this country. So number one is that there must be continuity. Those projects we had, you know, the path that we've taken, use the same path, increase the speed so that we can move faster. That's what Uhuru did. He came and took the same path Uhuru Kibaki had set, Vision 2030. This is a big four agenda. He picked some agendas and learn with them. That's how we have been able to achieve a lot. We don't want this issue of moving completely from a laid down path that is delivering. So the issue of continuity is very important. And again, not just on the projects that we had started, but even the projects that are in the pipeline that are meant to transform the lives of Kenyans.
Right.
I'll tell you what, SGR was conceived during Kibaki's time. Uhuru came and put it on track and delivered. LAPSET was conceived way back during Kenyatta's time, in 1972-71. Moi did nothing about it. Kibaki came and put it, some bit of it in track. Uhuru has come and put it, it's now moving. So we don't want somebody to come and say, we're not going to deal with LAPSET. We want to start another project running from Namanga to Rodwa or something like that. We will never go anywhere as a country. So continuity is key.
And you feel the others cannot.
We have like the road from Lemuru here, heading all the way to Mau Summit, a dual carriage. If we don't do that road, we'll see a horrible clog up of vehicles in the coming days. And the person who helped us achieve that, and the person who has said that he is going to ensure that projects and policies started by Jubilee will be fast-tracked is Raila Odinga. William double speaks. He says, we have not done anything. Then the next days he says he's going to finish what we started. He badmouths all that we have done and we've been. Then the next day he says, we are okay together. You can't trust a person who is a waverer. Leadership is about clarity of mind, it's about firmness, it's about moving in a given direction. That you, as a person, as a leader, you know the vision and you follow that vision. But these are the leaders who keep saying, tunasikiza ground. Na ground ilikupatia mamlaka waongoze. Kama wewe ni wakusikiza ground, wewe rudi kwa ground. Wacha tutafute viongozi ambao wako na maono zaidi ya ground. Kama maono yako ni tu iko hapa kwa ground, we will be again in the roundabout for time on end.
So when you say kusikiza ground might not be the ideal thing to do as a leader, then are you saying then that is politics of survival that they are doing, as opposed to take a leadership stand and show us the direction instead of waiting to be told what you want? This is the language of politicians.
It's actually the politics of deceit.
Politics of deceit.
Yes. Leadership requires boldness and courage and a clarity of mind. Where do you want to go? And you must be able to see what others are not seeing. That's why you are pulling them in a given direction. And that's why they call you a leader, because you are leading. But kama wewe ni mtu ya kuja nyuma ya ng'ombe, unasukuma ng'ombe kutoka pande ya nyuma, sasa utaongozwa a good mfugaji. Akianza kwenda nyumbani, ng'ombe zimemzoea, zinamfuata.
There's been talk that...
Not to say that we are calling Kenyans ng'ombes. I don't want to say that. I'm just using that as an analogy.
Yeah. There's been talk that those who will be voting, or any opportunity that people get to vote within the Mount Kenya region, they vote to punish the president. You know, it's a vote to actually teach President Uhuru Kenyatta a lesson. That happened in one of the by-elections within the central region, where Jubilee lost to UDA candidate, and of course they now have their first member of parliament from that region. What would you say about this? I mean, especially speaking to the people of Mount Kenya, that you say that have been brainwashed against their leader, the President Uhuru Kenyatta. What runs to your mind? Do you have sleepless nights? Do you think the president also has sleepless nights on this, especially if things go contrary to this investment in a Raila Odinga presidency? Would there be a huge shame and a huge feeling of loss to the Jubilee Party, to the president, and everybody else who has been speaking contrary as far as the people's choice will be in 2022, August 9th?
Having seen those signs that the community could easily end up in the wrong hands, it is now upon us to ensure that they don't. And what we are doing is to ensure that they understand, one, that you are told nothing has been done, a lot has been achieved. But you may not know that a lot has been done because you only are in one area. The government is every corner of this country. We will be able to demonstrate what has been achieved. You are told that the president does not like you. He hates you people from Mount Kenya. That's why he does not come to you. We want to let people now can see, kube rais alikuwa anafanya kazi. Na tulikuwa tumemwambia aende ofisi ya State House afanye kazi. The lying, the propaganda was done with hype by UNDA, led by the Deputy President, William Samoei Ruto. That was done for more than 7-8 years, because it started even when people could not lay their hands on it. That lying on the hype, you counter it with facts. The danger that people don't understand about Mount Kenya is that, unlike many other areas, yes, they are emotional, yes, they become emotive, but they also pause to listen. Not to reason, to listen. What we are doing is to talk with the people who listen. When they listen and hear, they actually go back and talk to their others. So our approach is a little different. We will be going around the roads and making all the noise that we can make and the vuvuzela, but we have to sit with the leadership of Mount Kenya region, and let them see, demonstrate like I'm going to do now to these young people from Nyeri.
Right.
I'll take them through rides and I'll tell them they are leaders. When they go back, these are 30 people. I expect them in a month they will have spoken to over 1,000 people. So, and that is working. That is working. Already we are on an upward. We may not have met with Ruto coming down, because this is what is happening. We are going up, they are coming down. In a short while, you are going to see us change direct, tutapitana hivi karibuni. And why are we going up? We've not seen lorries hit this thicker road. No, just by talking to people, telling me, listen, the politics of heckling, the politics of shouting, hii politics ya kusema mambo mengi kwa magari, it is coming and it has a face. But what we have now is politics of ask me the questions. You promised this, you didn't deliver. Why? You promised this, you have not done. I have done this. Honestly, can you say I was asleep when I've achieved all this? Do you want this to be done by another person? Who is this other person you can trust? That's the argument we're having and the discussions we're having with people.
Right.
A very different style of doing politics in this country has started in Mount Kenya region. And you'd rather be careful if you're aspiring to become a politician. The times of insulting the other, the days of using hatred of one community against the other as a political platform to launch your career is over.
Yeah.
There are those who've been pushing for the animosity that was there from the early 60s between Kikuyus and Luos. And the deputy president has been good at this, calling Raila mtu ya kitendawili, akimuita mchawi, trying to use the animosity, which was completely baseless.
Yeah, but
between the Kikuyus and the Luos, and
yes.
hoping that can take him to State House. You'd rather come up with another stage, another strategy, but it is already too late.
It's already too late. And as you said, the number of years and the number of time that the deputy president and his team, in your words, has taken to tarnish the credibility of the president and the Jubilee administration is the same thing that probably another person would argue, and we've had even some politicians stand on the podium and publicly say that Raila tusamehe, hiyo wakati tuliambiwa tukutukane, tuliambiwa tuseme wewe ni mubaya, but forgive us, and now we see another person who we can be able to trust again. You know, the communities had been actually polarized against a Raila presidency over years. And you've also said that it took 7 years to actually taint the image of the president, and now you are working towards an upward trajectory. Is it a little too late?
No, it is not. We were in Kiambaa for 3 weeks. And we got into Kiambaa when people did not want any of us anywhere near. You would try and give a red cap and they would say, kwenda huko. In 3 weeks, we got 50% of Kiambaa in 3 weeks. We have just been out here for the last 2 months, Mount Kenya region. We already are eating into the block that William thought was already behind him. The numbers that we have today have already made Raila the president. What we do not want is to have a Raila presidency and an opposition zone called Mount Kenya region. But in terms of the numbers, and Uhuru said, siasa ni hesabu, siasa ni marathon, siasa ni kupanga. Alafu unaambia watu. So in terms of hesabu, I can tell you, even that is why how would you explain the absence of the deputy president this time kwa uwanja? Wewe unacheza mpira unaendelea na unaenda kukunywa maji huko kwa jukwaa. At you end out of the country at this time. You can only do that if the game is up.
To feel
and
that
I tell you,
he's gone out.
The game is up.
The game is up.
The game is up for him. And even the issue of crying vow that is going to be rigged, the game is up. That is what you do when you realize that you have lost. So you start explaining as to why are you going to lose. And ideally, we want the courage that again comes after that of accepting that you have lost. We don't want the necessary pull and down. There is adequate time to talk to people who listen. And I can tell you, we are doing that every day. That is my responsibility from this office, to talk to the mountain especially, and other regions. And the NDC alone brought in Turkana, Isiolo, Marsabit. It has brought in Mandera, Galiza. We had all those meetings, we had them here in Ras. We have another set starting Monday coming here. By the time we are crossing this, we have crossed many of the things. We have a lot, Taita Taveta, Mombasa, we can see a lot of good movement. In Mount Kenya region, the 10 counties that are there, there are those who thought we will not be having aspirants. We can see a very good flow of aspirants here. And another joy, we could also end up with a very new crop of leaders coming from Mount Kenya. Those who thought that you can insert yourself to power may just have created an opportunity for another set of young people. So I want to assure you that we know what to do, how to do it, and also when to do it. And if you want to have the comfort of numbers, Raila is still solidifying his original base that he has been there. And if you have any doubt, look at the statistics, and they're available at IEBC. 2007, the combination of Raila plus the others, they were the Pentagon, the COD.
Yes.
Raila got 44% of the national vote. 2013, the combination of Raila plus others under the COD alliance, when he had, I think it is the time he had Kalonzo Musyoka as the running mate, or who was it?
Yes.
Was it then? I think so. When he had, 2013, the COD alliance, Raila and the combination of the people behind him, he got 44% of the vote. 2017 when he had the NASA thing, hiyo kitu Musalia alikuwa anasema NASA, na bado nasikia akijaribu kunaswa, na amenaswa na mwingine sasa. The NASA team, combination of Raila with others into NASA, Raila got 44% of the national vote. On 3 occasions, 15 years, he has maintained his 44% vote across the country. Irrespective of who comes around him, there is a loyal 44%. What is he looking for to win 2022? 6% plus 1.
Which you promising him from the mountain.
6% plus 1 from the mountain is 960,000 votes.
Only.
In a block of 6 million votes. You can't miss that.
But SG, times have changed. Even the IEBC failed to meet the voter registration targets. I mean, a lot has happened. Some people are saying voter apathy is going to happen. A majority will not even vote. Doesn't that make you worried as well?
Voter apathy in Mount Kenya region will hurt the deputy president. He is the one who needs the block 100% as it was 2017. The block that voted for Uhuru must turn out 100%, almost 120% for him to have any sensible stake at the national office. So times have changed, yes, without a doubt, but these are 44% is 44% of the last year, of the last yesteryears. All these are of the years past. There is still a 44% of a percentage that has changed now. So you are looking at a percentage, not absolute numbers. So 44% of whatever number that turns out is likely to behave the same way. The other 44% of the other, whatever bigger number that was out there. So these are percentages, and you know statistics and these numbers. If you are doing projections, you use percentages. I can tell you, siasa ni hesabu.
Siasa ni hesabu. I want us to close, but I want to ask you this question. There are people in this coalition building process that analysts say you really need them as well to actually have a clearer and probably utmost win for your preferred candidate under the Azimio movement. And some people mention Kalonzo Musyoka, they mention Martha Karua, and now Gatundu Member of Parliament has outrightly said he's on the way to the Deputy President's side.
You said who?
Gatundu Member of Parliament, Moses Kuria. Chama cha kazi. I mean, you turned your eyes. I mean,
yeah, because I can't trust anything Moses Kuria says, and because he is give it to him. You say this today, tomorrow that, the other thing that, and he can only come over to President's side because he has realized outside there is too cold, and he can't.
Yeah, but he has insisted unless he's dead, nobody should take him to Azimio la Umoja.
Yeah, but I thought you were saying he's coming.
No.
No, but we also don't want anything from him. Yeah. Let him remain outside the Azimio. We are doing better without him. When he comes in, he becomes too disruptive. Yes. What
about Kalonzo Musyoka?
Now, let me tell you about Kalonzo Musyoka, and I will talk about it generally.
Yes.
We have also said in Jubilee, and one of the things that is crucial for this country is inclusivity. That informed BBI. Why inclusivity? Because if you feel included, your anxiety is reduced.
Yes.
Your fear you are taken care of. You are able to go sleep knowing that even tomorrow you will not have something bad will not have happened to you. You are part of the table that is agreeing on how to move as a country.
Correct.
So we are interested with Kalonzo Musyoka because having him here, one, of course, the numbers are better. The margin between number 1 and 2 increases. So the need for a Leland, the need for people going tear gas Mondays, Tuesday, those ones are taken care of. But there is also the issue of you are part of it. You are part of it. So managing the country 5 years when everybody is included in a formation makes it easy to deliver on the promises that you made. The country develops faster.
Yeah.
The lives of Kenyans are changed faster. We will be able to see ourselves a developed nation within our lifetime. So this is why you see the president spending all the time, even with individuals who may not have any number of votes behind them. But ideally is that they speak and they are heard. So if you can bring them together and they are part of this, of course is that there will not be everything for them, but you are part of this, and when you come in, you also punch within your league. You cannot start punching beyond your weight. when you are there and you know your weight and you're punching within your weight, we are better off as a country when everybody is around the table. So inclusivity.
Yeah.
I mean, that is why I got a bit actually embarrassed and lost with Musalia. I expected him to hold on alone, but eventually perhaps to see the good of what is being said and say, I love the country more than getting it sprinted all over.
Yeah.
So Moses Kuria and colleagues, they are also welcome. They come from Mount Kenya region, but they are in UDA. Those parties are in UDA. They were formed to split the mountain, but they are now seeing that it's becoming difficult to split the mountain. They were formed to cut a chunk and deliver the chunk through the back door to number 2, and we will be working on them in the coming days.
Right, but you see Kalonzo Musyoka brings in or throws the spanners in the works with his latest statement urging Raila Odinga to be the bigger person and honor the agreement of actually saying Kalonzo Tosha, or, you know, show us that indeed he's not a man to be trusted. So, I mean, how does this go down with
Leadership includes managing people who throw in tantrums and throw in spanners.
Yeah.
Yes, so I believe that within Azimio, there is leadership enough to manage all these teams that are coming.
Yeah.
And you do that because you have the nation at heart.
Yeah.
What was more difficult? To move out of State House, down the Harambee Avenue, and shake the hand of Raila Odinga, or talk to Kalonzo about his unpaid dues or some other differences? What was more difficult? The more difficult thing was to get Raila to come on the table and to agree that Kikuyus and Luos can work together. Something we had failed to do for more than half a century. I mean, that was the most difficult thing. So I don't expect that this is going to be a difficult thing with Uhuru. He will certainly be able to talk to his Fred when he's done with the manenos that we have had visitors in the country.
Right. Close on these two things, SG. Number one, the feeling of failure or being failed, especially for Kenyans who turned up in large numbers, komera, you know, people who woke up really early. Yes, and some of them claim that actually they are poorer and probably they've gone through the most difficult times, and they've not seen any benefit of having a president from their community, for those who actually thought that that was what they were going to get, and feeling this vengeance against the leadership of President Uhuru Kenyatta, especially now, even with the cost of living. People were saying lower the food prices. The cost of living has gone too high, rampant corruption in many cases, you know, cases that don't go to the end. And then secondly, what you mentioned that is cropping up today, the issue of the young people within Central Region being labeled as Mungiki and being specifically targeted for not accepting to join the UDA formation. Talk to us a bit about those two items and then we close.
I feel with the Kenyans, and it's true that life is difficult. I feel with the Kenyans because of the cost of living that has gone up. There are also those who may be feeling like the things they thought would happen did not happen, and the president said without doubt what I promised to deliver. I have not delivered everything, but I have done a bit of it. But I want to say two things. One, there is of course the cost of living, the price of goods and the rest, and fuel is a major factor in the inflation rate in this country. We have no control on the price of fuel in this country. I sit in the Energy Committee, and we are pumping up to 35 billion shillings to try and cushion Kenyans on the cost of fuel, subsidizing fuel so that when you go to fuel at the petrol station, the petrol is not sold to you as it should because of the price that came from Saudi Arabia. So the government is subsidizing by over 35 billion shillings, and we provided that in our budget. So the government has no control over the price of crude oil in this country, even refined oil, fuel in this country. So a lot of the factors that have influenced these things had nothing to do with us. We had COVID. COVID hit the countries. We must credit the president for having navigated it through. This is one of the countries that navigated through COVID better than even the US. Many of the economies went under, and some of them have not even started picking up. We had the issue of drought that hit us during the last 4 years, the locusts. So we have had some natural calamities or disasters that have made it difficult for the life of Kenyans. And but the government has made intervention measures. There were those measures that were done during the COVID. You remember some people also stole the money that was supposed to help cushion Kenyans. And so the lives, that is caused by things that may be completely outside the ability of anybody to manage. But also, the things that have been achieved by Jubilee have not been talked about in the last 4 years. There has been a mouth, and then mouths, because the first was the deputy president, and he recruited an army of propagandists, wakora wa siasa, ambao wamekuwa wakitembea Kenya mzima kusema ya kwamba hakuna kazi imefanyika. Sasa ukionyeshwa kwa TV yale yamefanyika, unachangaa. And when you see the kind of huge development, infrastructure development projects that have taken place, it's a matter of time before you now see the effect of those projects on your own life. Thika Road. When Kibaki was doing this, I remember Jirongo was so vicious on it, wondering why are you spending all that money? But what kind of economic benefit has it brought to this country? So these huge projects will eventually show the benefits that come to the society. When you are looking at the economy, remember Kibaki got a 1.3 trillion economy, took it to 5 or almost 2 trillion, took it to 5. Uhuru has taken it to 13 trillion. So how can you sit and say we are worse off, we are poorer, it cannot be. If you have grown the economy from 5 trillion to 13 trillion,
has it probably just benefited just a
few?
Because
we were not.
Eugene.
Yes. Mfuko yako hata ile suti umefanya ni tofauti na ile ulikuwa unafanya miaka ile ilikuwa imepita. Our old people back home are receiving the cash transfer. We have support to the orphans. We are supporting bursaries and the rest. It's not the way it was. It is certainly not the way it was. Things have improved. But always, you as a Kenyan, you want more. There is an age bracket of young people who needed employment. The economy has not grown to the point of absorbing all of them. So they want to see that. And that is why, again, when you are going to the next government, what are they promising to do? How can we continue with this economy? How can we even move faster to try and take care of all those things? When you talk about theft, and corruption must be fought throughout. The last thing we had the other day was KPLC. Uhuru made changes some 6 months ago, brought in Monica Juma and a team of other top executives to the Ministry of Energy, and they looked at KPLC. And within 6 months, a company that was making a loss the last 6 months, last week, they posted a 3.5 billion shillings profit. 3.5 billion within 6 months from a loss-making period. Somebody was still stealing. So fighting corruption, Kenyans want to see it being fought in court. But even stopping the stealing of 3.5 billion shillings in 6 months, it is already fighting corruption. Kenya Meat Commission, they were returning a daily rate of 8,000 shillings. Uhuru made changes there, brought the army. Every day, he's now receiving 1 million shillings from Kenya Meat Commission. So these are some of the things that have been done to fight corruption. And he may not have gone to the top of the roof screaming about them, but they have happened, and we have 6 months, maybe slightly less now, to tell Kenyans of those gains. When you talk about threats, we were called Mugeki from Mount Kenya during the Moi era. We do not want another generation being labeled Mugeki. Those of us in Mount Kenya region, any person labeling our young people as Mogeki, who are waking up to toil, heck a living out of something, any person who calls them Mogeki must be avoided this early. Make sure that he comes nowhere near government. It will be hell on earth again. We don't want to lose the young men like we lost in the 80s and the 90s.
And what would you say about Tabitha Karanja? She's a young entrepreneur who says she's really employed so many people, and she feels the Jubilee administration is somehow eating its own children, for lack of a better word, in terms of those who are actually contributing to the exchequer or to the economy of the country. What would you say, sitting where you sit, about these claims?
Remember, we had in the BBI proposed a 7-year tax-free period, an incubation period of 7 years, where the young Karaja, we were proposing to give him a 7-year tax break, where he would wake up, start a biashara, pay nothing in terms of taxes, everything including at the county level, until the 7th year when he starts paying taxes. So the people who did not allow us to give that relief to the Karanja are the people who are now telling Karaja they have something for him in the name of a wheelbarrow. If they allowed that to pass, Karaja will not be paying taxes today. He would be employing more than the 6, maybe 16 now.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Asante for talking to us.
Asante sana.
Thank you. Thank you so much for watching, and of course for being a part of the program. We'll definitely be able to bring more of the leaders, and of course have more conversations around our country, especially as we head towards the election. That's it. My name, as always, is Eugene Anangwe. Stay with us.
Asante sana.
Thank you.